Hey darlings. Oksana was only years old. A girl's life was not to be called happy. Oksana never knew he left the family before she was born. She was in middle school, she was dancing, but quickly dropped the business. After school, she entered the institute, but the school had to be abandoned because Oksana's mother had an insult. The woman was saved, but after the illness, she was paralyzed. Oksana moved to her sick mother, took care of her. The family lived on a pension due to disability, but very soon these money began to be insufficient. The girl desperately looked for a job, but no one needed a specialist without a higher education. Moreover, she could not devote a full day to work. The only vacation that Oksana was invited to was a cleaning lady in a local bank department. There was nowhere to go. She got a job. The girl didn't tell her mother about such a prestigious profession. Mom, I'm going to work tomorrow. Don't worry, it's not a full day. Just a few hours. Oksana is good. But it won't be hard for you, said Elena Grigorievna, the mother of the girl. No, everything is fine, said Oksana. While I'm away, Olga Ivanovna, the neighbor, will watch over you. And where did you go? To the store, as a saleswoman, said her daughter. The next day, Oksana woke up unusually early for herself. She prepared breakfast for herself and her mother. She waited for her neighbor and went to work. She was very ashamed on the way. It seemed that everyone was looking at her and laughing, that such a young and beautiful girl was washing the floors. Of course, no one could know about it, but she thought that everyone was definitely aware of her plans. Oksana stepped over her pride by getting into this job. It was a necessity. Hello, my name is Denis Alexandrovich. The director of the bank introduced himself. He was a young man, but he was not more than years old. He was cute, well-dressed, with a hairstyle, smiling and polite. His whole appearance was about high status. Oksana was embarrassed by such a presentable young man. Hello, I'm Oksana. I added a little thought. Valerievna, today is my first working day. I will clean up at your place. Yes, I was warned about a new employee. Welcome to our friendly team. Thank you. Now my secretary will tell you about your duties. Denis called a cute girl from the reception. Angelica. The secretary entered the office. Oksana looked at the new one from under her lips. She was very beautiful. Long legs that seemed endless because of high heels and short skirt. Bright red lips, black eyelashes. She seemed to have left the pages of fashion magazines. Angelica's look was over the top and self-loved. She clearly considered herself the most important person in this building. The girl was approximately the same age as Oksana, but there was a huge social gap between them. She kept herself confident and polite, but compared to the director, her politeness seemed to be overpowered. Yes, Denis Alexandrovich, she said with a whistling voice. Did you ask to come in? This is our new cleaner. The director pointed to Oksana with a gesture. Take her to the case course, and then come to me. We need to discuss the details of the report. As you say, the secretary replied and turned to Oksana. Come with me. The girls left the office. One proudly raised her head and swinging her hips, and the other shyly lowered her eyes and bowed. Denis was giving both of them a look. Angelica took Oksana to the warehouse, showed where the cleaning inventory was, got acquainted with the cleaning schedule, told about all the responsibilities. When Oksana nodded, letting her know that she had learned everything, the secretary suddenly pressed her to the wall, closed the door into the warehouse, and looked closely into her eyes. It's very suspicious, she whispered through her teeth, when a young and pretty girl comes to work as a floor cleaner. I have an impossible situation, Oksana replied in fear. And in general, this is my personal business, whom I am going to work for. If you decided to get to Denis, then forget to think, he is mine. I've been working on this copy for a year and a half, and no poor, modest girl will take my place. Did you understand? I didn't even think about it. I saw him for the first time in my life today. Oksana justified. Look, I'm clicking on the same ones as you. Finally, Angelica slightly pushed the scared Oksana over her shoulders and left, satisfied with herself. She was left in the storage room trying to figure out what had just happened. Oksana made a conclusion that it was better not to contact the secretary. She came to work for money. Participation in office love dramas did not fit her plans. While Oksana was considering her new workplace, other cleaning ladies approached. These were two women. One was about 50 years old, the second a little older. They looked at a new colleague with surprise. "Hello, Pavlovna. Look who's here," said one of the cleaning lady. "Girl, you must have confused the doors. The interns are being treated in the road," answered Zoya Pavlovna, the second woman who entered. Oksana grumbled, barely holding back her tears. She was shocked enough on her first day at work. She wanted to go home as soon as possible and never come back here again. "Well, what are you talking about? My name is Nadezhda Fedorovna." The worker who came in first introduced herself. "And this is Zoya Pavlovna. Don't worry, we'll get you to the course of the case quickly." Oksana, who still could not contain her emotions, replied discontentedly. "Angelica explained everything to me." "Ah, if you managed to get acquainted with this snake, then it is clear that you are so sad," said Zoe. "Don't put this finger in your mouth. It will bite off your elbow. Don't listen to Angelica. She is nobody here." Nadezhda supported her friend. "Well, she is the boss's lover, as I understand." "What kind of love is there?" Nadia shared her love with joy. "She came here 2 years ago as an intern. She wanted to get into managers. She was out of her mind, so she took another side of her." Yes, Zoya supported the conversation. "She was running after our Dennis, that's all. He, poor, didn't know where to hide from her. But she finally caught him. I don't know what she was doing there, but he quickly determined her on the place of the secretary, but still avoids. I think she wants to marry him, but he doesn't tie relations with her. So, they get confused here at the workplace no more. He raised her only to back off. The gentleman cannot fire her, but she doesn't have enough brains to take up a higher position. The woman was washed by the boss's bones and the secretary's. They happily laughed and went to pour water. Oksana was not interested in listening to the love affairs of the bank employees, but she did not interrupt the colleague. It became obvious to the girl that she was not just at work, but in a real soap opera. Here she had to learn a lot more interesting things. "And I'll tell you this," turned to Sonya Nadezhda, who returned to the back room. "The cleaning lady is the gray cardinal of any establishment. We know more than anyone here, and we have the whole authority." "And the interesting authority," the girl laughed. "Trash from the bucket to put in the bag? You shouldn't have done that." The woman was a little offended. "We know who and how many come. When she leaves, the doors are open to us in any room. The cleaning lady is invisible, unnoticeable, and hears and knows everything about everyone." "Yes, this is true," the friend who came from nowhere to Zoya supported. "How many secret conversations I have listened to here. I didn't recognize any muddy schemes. Each night has a fluff," confirmed Nadia. "Here you see Igor. He is now a manager in the credit department, and he is a courier. You ask how? I ask, of course." Oksana nodded her head, and her eyes lit with interest. "And his boss from the stairs accidentally pushed, and to not pay compensation, arranged in the department. Kolya is sitting at the table. The manager, too, was an assistant. This one was just a boss with a lover and knocked. He raised him so that he would not give up his wife." Yes, Oksana was surprised. "And they told me that in order to find a good job, you need to study well at school. Here it is, school. Real and vital," said Zoya Pavlovna. "Here, for one smart worker, 5 Tuniatsev Shislivchikov will be scored." Oksana quickly wiped the floor on her sight, wiped the dust, cleaned the urns, and went to the back room. 2 hours remained until her next exit. She decided to call her mother. "How are you doing?" asked the girl. "All is well. Olga Ivanovna gave me a shot. I just woke up recently. How was your first working day? My daughter said, don't worry about me. I'll be home by evening. You know, said my mom, you can go out for a full day. Olga Ivanovna and I are doing fine. She's retired. She's bored at home. She gladly agreed to spend the whole day with me. Okay, Mom. If I have the opportunity, I'll try. Axa didn't want to work in this clubhouse all day. She didn't want to waste a few hours of her life. If it's so easy here, and anyone can break into an illegal place, maybe I can do it, thought the girl. She decided to try to get a better position, at least a saleswoman. Anyone but a cleaner. After half a day of work, Oksana returned home. Mom and neighbor watched a TV series and talked about what was happening on the screen. Oksana returned, said Olga Ivanovna. How are you? You look tired. Mom worried. Everything is fine. There is just too much information on the first day at the workplace. I will get used to it. I'll go then. Come by at 9 tomorrow, the neighbor said. I'll come after you when I get to work, the girl replied. The neighbor said goodbye and left. Oksana went to have dinner, thinking about the past day. She didn't want to wash the floors all her life and clean up the office mess. How could she move along the career ladder? With these same thoughts, she woke up in the morning. Oksana worked for a week. All this time, she suffered humiliation from Angelica, who did not accept a new young and pretty worker. The secretary constantly poured coffee, knocked on the unfortunate door, pointed out that the toilet floor was clogged. By the way, he began to get drunk several times a day, which had not been observed before. Oh, how do you want to live in this misery? Oksana Zoya said. Exactly. I felt the competition. Nadezhda supported me. Come on, I just have such a job. Oksana answered. No, we have been working here for several years. This has never happened. Angelica behaves like this only when she wants to remove her opponent. What kind of opponent am I? I'm just washing the floors. You are young and beautiful. Denis Alexandrovich is very polite with you. Here is the anger, said Zoe. He talks to everyone like that. Oksana resisted. Once, leaving the office, Denis Alexandrovich poured Oksana hot tea. She wiped the floor in the reception room, and he walked with a full mug. The boiling water poured directly on the back of the unfortunate girl. Her skin instantly turned red and covered with holes. The secretary called for an ambulance. While the doctors were waiting, Denis asked Angelica to leave him alone with the cleaning lady. She left the office, looking at the unfortunate woman with a despicable look. Oksana, I want to ask you something, the director said quietly. I'm listening. You can say that you touched the table where the cup with tea was. What difference does it make how I got burned? Oksana did not understand. You see, if you say that I did it, it will be a wound on the workplace. The bank will have problems. And if you say you have no complaints, then everything will be fine. That is, you ask me to cover your ass, am I right? Right, the boss answered, paying no attention to the tone of the cleaner. Of course, you will receive a compensation for covering, as you say, and I will fully pay the cost for treatment. Okay, agreed with Oksana. She didn't want to deal with it herself. Moreover, in the case of a fight, her mother could find out where and who her daughter works. Doctors treated the wound and clarified whether the victim had any claims of the company. She also got the wound at her workplace. Oksana said that everything was fine. She was to blame. Denis Alexandrovich, closely watching what was happening, politely nodded his head and showed class. After the incident, the girl was released home. Oksana decided to hide the incident from her mother so that she would not worry. She treated the wound on her own, changed clothes in another room. The girl hoped that this situation would help her to move up a little. Even a small bonus would please her. One day, Olga Ivanovna came earlier than agreed in time and caught Oksana in the neglect. What's wrong with your back? The neighbor was scared. Forget about anything scary, Oksana replied. No, it won't work that way. Tell me quickly. Or should I call Mom? Mom, don't. Oksana told the neighbor that she works as a cleaner. She shared how she got the injury. Oksana told the neighbor that she works as a cleaner. She shared how she got the injury. Oksana told the neighbor that she works as a cleaner. She shared how she got the injury. Oksana told the neighbor that she works as a cleaner. She shared how she got the injury. Oksana told the neighbor that she works as a cleaner. Oksana told the neighbor that. Well, what's to be ashamed of? Olga Ivanovna supported the girl. I wash the floors. I am poured boiling water. I want to guard the management and do not receive any gratitude. Where is the reason for pride in this list? You do everything in your power to make your mother not suffer. This is what respect deserves, said the neighbor. Oksana, you are a very good girl. There are few such girls now. But you can't be so modest and reliable. Recently, I have been often told this, Oksana thought. Sometimes you have to show your teeth. In such a world, we live cruelly. Olga Ivanovna continued her thought. Demand compensation. Tell the police. You can't leave it like that. Such a burn, the scar will remain. I thought, promised Oksana, though I knew that she would not go anywhere and would not demand anything. Mom, just don't tell anything. Okay, I'll wait for you to sober up yourself. A week passed since Oksana got her burn. But Denis didn't hurry to fulfill his promise. Oksana didn't dare to remind him, although Nadia and Zoya used to give her a night out every day. One day, the director called the cleaning lady to his place. But finally, she thought. Oksana, said Denis, you have been working with us for 2 weeks. During this time, you have shown yourself as a good employee. And Oksana remembered the injury she had received and was very responsive. She hoped that now she would be promoted to the sign of gratitude. Yes, you can't argue with this. This is for you, as I promised. Denis stretched Oksana's envelope. She was a little upset, as she did not expect this, but the compensation was also good. But when the girl took the envelope, her joy flew away completely. The envelope was very thin. There was clearly only one bill. It was not worth the gratitude, Oksana replied falsely. Well, you helped us a lot. That's not all. The girl's confidence has returned again. She even stretched out and smiled. Now they will offer me a new position. Assistant, or maybe manager, Oksana dreamed of. We took you on an incomplete working day. A room cleaner. The young director started from afar. But recently you said that you were ready to go out for a whole day. Right. I have time off. The girl spoke, almost jumping over the part. Then I would like to transfer you to full working day. Naturally, the salary will increase by a couple of thousand rubles, but a couple of more offices will be added. Okay, that's good for me, answered the gloomy girl. Great. Can you start today? And hurried to leave the boss's office. But Angelica stopped her. Let's go. I'll show you the new territory, the secretary called. She led Oksana upstairs, pointing to the offices that she now has to clean up. After the excursion, the secretary laughed at the poor man. And what did you do to your face with a brick? I thought you would be sent to the deputy for a little massage. I have a face, not a face, Oksana replied angrily. Wow, what a bold girl. You take the keys from the cabinet on the watch and wash them more carefully. Dust remains in the corners. Angelica, the cleaner, joined the keys and turned on the heels. Oksana went to the warehouse. There she found her cleaning friends. Well, what did you say? Did you give the bonus? Nadezhda was interested. Yeah, I gave the envelope and expanded the circle of duties. And how much did you give? Zoya asked, wiping her hands. Oksana opened the envelope and immediately threw it on the floor. Then she crawled down the wall and cried bitterly. Nadezhda Fedorovna carefully lifted the envelope and looked into it. Here is the goat. She gave it out. He put only 1,000. Yes, Zoya summarized. He generously awarded. You won't say anything. Don't worry, we'll break through. Oksana calmed down and went to work. The time for closing the bank was approaching. I had to wash the cabinets from traces of the working day. All the employees had already left, but the light was on behind the last door in the corridor. There was clearly a private conversation, because they were talking in whispers. Oksana waited half an hour, but no one thought to go out. The girl did not wait until the interlocutors talked and knocked on the door. "Can I clean up? My working day is over. I'm just waiting for you," she said, looking into the office. "Of course, come in." The tall guy in glasses and a beard answered her. "What are you doing?" Another young man stopped him. "We are not here to travel to the Crimea." "Enough for you," the third participant of the conversation intervened. "This is just a cleaner." "Oksanaka, take it easy and don't get involved in the essence of our conversation." Oksana nodded and went to the office. She was really not interested in the topic of these people's conversation. She recognized the companions of Dennis. In the morning they came to him and stained the office, so she remembered them. The girl was in her sad thoughts, but some phrases flew to her, which attracted attention. "The money is transferred to us the day after tomorrow. We need to get the signatures of Alexander," said the young man who did not want to let in the cleaner. "It will not be difficult. I have been saving different contracts for a week. I will bring them to Angelica tomorrow to sign." When there is a lot of paper, Dennis does not look at what he signs, answered High in glasses. "It's complicated. There is such a difference. Suddenly the look will fall," the third doubted. "There the font is tiny, will not notice." "Are you sure they will turn?" The most doubtful said. "We need to make the iron concrete, otherwise we will all fly as it opens." "Do not worry, such a deal will not be forgiven by him in the head office. He will fly like a cute one, together with his Angelica." "No, we'll leave the secretary. She doesn't care who she lies to, just want to be the boss. It will be nice to look at her legs." The whole company laughed out loud. Oksana guessed that they were thinking of some kind of a plan to set up and remove Denis Alexandrovich from office. At that moment, a new idea came to her mind. For this information, she should receive a reward of more than 1,000 rubles. Although she was angry with the boss for the fact that he behaved very irresponsibly with her, the girl decided to warn the boss about the future offender. But before that, she wanted to consult with someone. She had no other cleaning lady in the bank. Nadezhda Fyodorovna addressed her colleague Oksana. "Can I ask you for advice?" "Of course. I can only advise you. I found out something bad. Do I need to warn this man?" "You, of course, explain clearly." The cleaning lady laughed at Oksana. "Someone is Denis Alexandrovich, I guess. It doesn't matter." "Well, yes. So do I need to warn him? After he did the same thing to you after the fire, I would wish him only good luck. On the other hand, if the information is important, maybe he will thank you normally." "The information is very important," Oksana confirmed. "His fate depends on this, perhaps." "Then tell me, of course. He is sometimes normal after all. It's a pity if he gets ruined." Made a conclusion by Nadezhda Fedorovna. The next day Oksana came to work earlier to get Denis alone. He always came before everyone else. Angelica was already sitting in the reception room and sawing her nails. "Where are you going?" she asked in a dismay. "They haven't had time to trample there yet. I have very important information for Denis Alexandrovich. She will do without it. Go and wipe the dust in the corridor." "You don't tell me here. Pull your claws further," Oksana answered. She no longer tried to hide her hatred for this person. "I forgot my place." The secretary shouted and rose from the place. At this moment, Denis came out to the noise. He was surprised by the picture. "Girls, what's going on here early in the morning?" "Yes," Polomoyka decided. "What can disturb the management with its news?" said Angelica. "I have very important information for you," Oksana persistently said. "If you do not listen to me, then you will lose everything you have." "No, but you imagine that she has doubted herself," laughed the secretary. "Angelica, Go to sleep, cooled her half-dead Dennis. You can make a manicure in a non-working time. The secretary was unhappy, looked at the cleaner. It seemed that sparks would be shot from her eyes. She sharply went down to her place and knocked on the keys. Oksana, let's go to the office. I will listen to you. The girl shook her head, showing Angelica that today she is the winner, and confidently went ahead. Excuse me, my secretary, for her behavior. She has not been herself lately. What kind of information do you have? I think you want to be set up. Denis Alexandrovich laughed. And who? Your companions. The girl continued indifferently. They were late for work yesterday, and I did not wait for them and went to clean the office. They were talking about some kind of deal, after which you will be removed from your post. So, I really want to sign one contract tomorrow. The director has become more serious. These are the people you had a conversation with yesterday morning. They want to put you on the signature of the paper unnoticed. I heard you. Thank you for the signal. Denis answered and made it clear that the conversation was over. Oksana left the office and walked through the reception under Angelica's close-up. You don't hope that he will sleep with you, said the secretary with a smile. Don't worry about your duties, and I don't claim to. Oksana replied with a smile. Oh, you're a bitch. With these words, Angelica threw the girl who was leaving in the line. Oksana ignored this solution. She knew the price, even though she was a simple cleaner. And she was not going to react to this stupid provocation of this nearby girl. When Oksana went to the back room, she found Nadezhda Fedorovna there in tears. Before, this woman was always cheerful. What happened? The girl was interested. Nadezhda waved her hand. She did not want to share her sadness. Her friend Zoya entered the conversation. Nadia is in grief. Her husband died. This is still half of the trouble, said the glaring Hope. He long sought to go to the grave. Drank a lot, but at least worked, what or what, and brought a penny. One of me in funerals and apartment then not to pull. You will move to me, do not worry, supported the unfortunate Zoe. My dear has long been bedridden. I live alone. We will pull out together. Thank you, of course, but we are not students to live together as friends. I'll find another job. Where to go? We need to tell Denis Alexandrovich, Oksana suggested. Maybe the team will come together, at least for the funeral. Who do we need cleaning women? They don't consider us because of people. Nadezhda rejected the offer. It's not true. Zoya was outraged. Everyone loves you here. They wouldn't help me, but they don't feel sorry for you. You are the heart of the team. The woman was distracted by the conversation on the floor. Oksana and Zoya ran to check what happened, and Nadezhda stayed in the dressing room. You are already tired of your feet, said Angelica. What am I going to do if I get a little bit of it? The guy in glasses answered her, whose conversation Oksana listened to. You are saving your money there, and I am getting it in the end. The secretary continued her scolding. They tell me that I'm putting everything off at the last moment. Just sign it. The whole office put it on its ears. In the midst of the quarrel, Denis Alexandrovich left the elevator. He looked around with surprise. On the floor, 2 or 3 heads were sticking out of each door. Everyone was curious what kind of clash took place in the director's office. Gentlemen, Denis addressed the police. Come back to your workplaces. There is nothing to do here. Heads obediently hid behind the doors. Only Oksana and Zoya remained to watch what was happening. At the end of the corridor, 2 guys were nervously biting their nails. The cleaner recognized them. They were in a conversation with a tall guy who was arguing with the secretary. Denis Alexandrovich, Angelica was. Angelica, bring the papers to my office. And with you, Vitaly, I wanted to talk about our business separately. If you can, right now. The secretary obediently took the footwear and brought it to the boss. Vitalik noticeably got pale and fixed his tie. 2 of his comrades, who watched closely behind the scene, threw their heads to the ceiling and went to their offices. But Vitalik started with a slightly fluttering voice. We discussed everything yesterday. We discussed everything 1,000 times. You just have to sign it, and I'll take care of it. I want to check everything again. Why are you so nervous? It's a serious matter. A large amount of money is in circulation. I have to be sure that no nuances will come up. Letting Vitaly go ahead, indicating what he expects while he goes to the first office. The guy was looking around, worried, hoping for some kind of support, but only Angelica met him with his eyes, who smiled happily and pointed at the door. When the men entered the office, the director was late and gave an order. Don't let anyone in. The secretary nodded her head and glanced at the monitor. She had not seen her director for a long time, so serious and persistent. Dennis asked Vitalik to find the necessary document in the pile. He took up the job with shaking hands. The conversation between the boss and the subordinate lasted no less than an hour. The secretary tried to eavesdrop on what they had been talking about for so long, but only the fragments of the phrase were reached to her. Two of Vitalik's friends who participated in the conversation entered the reception room. Each of them had leaflets in their hands. What else did you bring me? Angelica asked, sitting in her seat. A statement of her own will, one of the managers replied. What's up? They worked well. What about you? The same statement. Please, take it faster. And since today, we are both in the hospital. With subsequent dismissal, as you already guessed, said the second. And where, I wonder? You both could get sick at the same time, Angelica laughed. You know, the window. Both in childhood did not get sick, and we sit in the same office. This is not your business at all, and we will go, so that the whole office does not get infected. You understand that they don't leave like that. Dennis will not give a good feature to employees who run away like rats, even without saying goodbye. This is not your business. Take the documents. Angelica clung, took the papers and said goodbye. Oksana went into the reception room with buckets. I will only wipe the dust. Can I? She asked modestly. 3, of course, but leave the floors for now. You can't go to Dennis, so there's no point in washing them twice. Surprisingly calmly, Angelica replied. Oksana obediently bowed her head and went to the window. She decided to talk to the secretary while she was in good spirits. And you don't know what they've been discussing there for so long? No, they've been sitting there for an hour, Angelica replied. Dennis screams sometimes. It's all very strange. The doors of the office suddenly opened, and from there Vitalik jumped out like a man. He saw Oksana and ran up to her. It's you. It's all you. He screamed, grabbing the girl by the collar. Hey, let go quickly. I'm sick of the girl throwing herself. Angelica stepped on the cleaning lady. I'll kill you. Crying out about the crazy Vitaly. What have I done to you? Oksana started crying out of fear. She was in a hurry and could not do anything else. Get out of here. The secretary shouted. Angelica grabbed the thickest folder from the shelf and put it on Vitalik's head. I'll call the guards now. Continued to attack the secretary. His face was rocked. His eyes were furious. You're still here, scoundrel, he shouted. I gave you a chance to get away well, but I can say where to go, and for attacking the employee you will go to the police station. You all go. Finally, he released Oksana Vitalik and spat on the floor. The fired-up cheater left, loudly knocking on the door. Angelica gave the scared cleaning lady a glass of water. Oksana was scared of the unexpected sympathy of the secretary, no less than an attack. Dennis sat on the couch in the reception room, trying to breathe out the anger that had engulfed him. Sidorov and Klimanov called me. He addressed Angelica. They are from today at the hospital with subsequent dismissal, she replied. Here are the bastards. Contractor was eliminated. I will give these the appropriate recommendations. None of the companies will hire them. Dennis clapped his knees, got up and hid in the office. Thank you. She thanked the secretary of Oksana for help. I didn't think you would agree. Come on. Angelica waved her hand. I just can't see the violence. I had situations, but it doesn't matter. A man shouldn't be able to deal with a girl. That's all. You'll continue cleaning later. We all need to get some rest. Oksana returned to the warehouse where her colleagues were waiting for her. I even forgot about my grief. Oh, don't say that. I was so scared, Oksana answered. It was Angelica. Oksana, Denis Alexandrovich is calling you right now. The girl obediently stood up and pursued the secretary. Oksana, the director began to speak. You have no idea how they saved me. I could not only lose my position, but I would also go to prison. So I am immensely grateful to you. Everyone would do this in my place, Oksana said modestly. The sad conclusion of Denis is that not everyone did this. You have proven yourself as a reliable and faithful employee. In our time, this is a rarity. In the harsh world of business, no one can be trusted, as you have already noticed. I need such people. I want to be sure in my subordinates. Therefore, Oksana, I offer you the position of my assistant. Oksana did not immediately understand what had just happened. She was offered such a high position by a simple cleaner. She could not believe it. Are you serious? She asked again. I don't even have a higher education. I have no idea what will go around my duties. Do not worry. I will tell you about your duties. Education does not matter to me. Do it for some faculty, so that the paper is there. We will teach the rest. Nobody will find such a fast career growth strange. From a cleaner to an assistant to the boss, less than a month. And don't worry about your reputation. We have half of the team on the family or acquaintance arranged. So what's the difference? I myself make you such an offer. If you need to think, I can give you time. No, Oksana was afraid that the boss could change her mind. I agree. Then now I let you go home. Have a rest. You had a busy day. Come tomorrow at 9. In the appropriate form, Denis clarified, hinting at worn jeans and a t-shirt in which Oksana was standing in front of him. Angelica will prepare an order for you. Tomorrow we will sign everything, and I will tell you what you will do. Denis Alexandrovich, I have one more request. The attraction of generosity is over for today. Goodbye. The boss didn't want to listen. Please, this is very important. The girl continued to insist. Our technician, Nadezhda Fedorovna, is in grief. Her husband died. She is all alone. She could help her. Maybe she could announce the volunteer collection. Yes, it's really sad news, said Denis Alexandrovich. I will tell the employees to collect the money. Thank you. Denis Alexandrovich on the same day announced the collection for material aid to Nadezhda Fedorovna. Bank employees quickly responded to the call. Everyone loved and respected this woman. They collected an impressive amount for her. The lucky Oksana returned home, discovering her mother with her neighbor in front of the TV. And you? What's so early? Mom was surprised. Mom, Olga Ivanovna, I have such news, said Oksana, jumping from happiness. I will work in a cool bank and not just a manager, but an assistant to the director. The neighbor clapped her hands and congratulated the girl. Mom was also delighted, but a shadow of doubt appeared in her eyes. How did you get there from the grocery store? Worried, Mom. Maybe you got into some bad story? Not without an adventure, Mom. But it's all true. I hid a little from you my true place of work. Oksana told Mom that she never liked the grocery store. She told her the story of her rapid career progress. The woman joked a little with her daughter. She said that even in the profession of a technician there is nothing shameful. But she is still proud of her daughter, despite the deception. Oksana and her mother were choosing clothes for the first day of work as assistants. In the morning, the girl with a heart attack entered the boss's office. She was met by Angelica. The girl was in a nervous mood. You made a quick move, she said with a smile. Angelica, stop it. I had no intention of breaking into Denis Alexandrovich's office. You will get rid of me right away? Why? It's only you who feel an incomprehensible hatred towards me. I have nothing against you. Moreover, I am very grateful to you for your help. I did not expect from you. Go, they are already waiting for you. Angelica's rival waved. Her dust has significantly decreased. Denis Alexandrovich told Oksana what her job would be. At first, she didn't need anything serious. Checking documents, following employees, and other things the director didn't have time for. One day, Nadezhda Fedorovna caught her in the hallway. She was tearing up, trying to hug and kiss the girl.
Oksana Valerievna,
My dear, how can I thank you? Said the woman. What are you talking about? Don't be modest. I know that you are the one who persuaded Denis Alexandrovich to help me. You know how well they helped. Don't thank me, said Oksana modestly. Any person in my place would do the same. And I am so happy for you. Continued the conversation of hope. You deserve such a position. Speaking of us, many people praise you. Everyone likes how you work. Although, of course, there are those who let rumors go, like, through the bed all this. But there are few of them, and no one listens to these fools. Drop it, the girl waved. You know that I'm not interested in gossip. They don't bother me. I don't participate in them. Oksana was doing well with her duties. She was a responsible employee. The co-workers quickly accepted her into the team. The girl did not forget about her former colleagues. Oksana took care of the fact that the technical workers were paid more. Zoya and Nadezhda did not know how to repay the girl. They were sincerely happy to see her increase. Angelica stopped touching Oksana. Now she was afraid of her, or just calmed down. No one knew such a change. Once during lunch, Oksana crossed paths with Angelica in the nearest cafe. Can I join you? She asked the secretary. There are a lot of tables here, but if you want, I don't mind. But we are not strangers. I want to thank you again. Can I have lunch for my account? Please, I don't care. Angelica neglectedly threw it. I'm not your enemy. I'm not interested in your Dennis. We have purely working relations. We also have. I'm tired of these gossip. What a cliché. Boss and secretary. Angelica was outraged. The series were revised. But I advised you not to trust Dennis so inexperienced. You are still stupid. You don't understand how everything is arranged here. What are you talking about? The secretary of Oksana did not understand the hint. I don't know anything, but I'm sure that you can expect a setback from Dennis. You already know that everyone here wants to eat each other. Vitalik is not the first and not the only one who is stirring up the water. You think Dennis just became a director at the age of? He was also going through his head at one point. But the point is to set me up, to stay clean by myself. In general, I just warned you to be careful and careful. Only that. Thank you. I admit, at first you seemed like a real bitch to me. And you are a cute girl. Made a compliment to Oksana. Don't get confused. I'm not cute at all. I can't survive in this world like you quietly, so sometimes I need to show my teeth. You said you can't see violence. There must have been situations in your life. Oksana didn't have time to finish. Angelica unexpectedly threw a fork, leaving the salad to the hungry. Said the secretary, getting up. But we have half an hour left. Oksana stopped her. The girl, Angelica whispered, bowing to her colleague's very ear. You don't think that we are now friends, and I will pour my soul out to you. After these words, the secretary left, as before, proudly raising her head. Oksana stayed in the cafe, thinking over everything she heard. At that moment Mitya came up to her. He worked in the sewage department. You don't mind the company? He asked. No, of course not. Moreover, my company has been removed, as you have noticed. Don't pay attention to her. She is still a little thing. You know what rumors are about her. And you are there. Stop the young man, Oksana. Aren't you tired of washing bones from each other? Okay, girls, but where are you going? Not interesting, okay. What is psych out? Mitya was surprised. Sorry, I'm all nervous. And what did I want? The guy thought a little and said, You are now the right hand of Dennis. You are turning with papers, right? Kind of. To be honest, he almost spits everything out of me. I don't know what he's doing. This is how Mitya laughed. It was noticeable how much he wanted to get into the trust of Caxon. The boss is like that, just to push the work. What did you want? The girl began to get tired of this muddy guy. She suspected that he had joined her for a reason. I prepared something here. Mitya got the documents. Look, these are the clients who left us. We can make loans on them. I have all the passport data. Let's withdraw money. Let them pay. Aren't you afraid that they will notice? People won't understand that this bank did it. How will they understand? I have everything clear. I will make all the payments. You only need approval. Revenue is half. Do you agree? Bring me the documents tomorrow, Oksana answered. She was not going to participate in the frauds, but she needed evidence to fire Mitya on the article. She also thought that it would be a plus for her from Dennis. The next day, Happy Mitya brought the documents. He gave them to Oksana and waited for the signature. Go to work. I have no time yet, Oksana said. I will sign during the day. That's right, everything is fine. You are some kind of suspicious. The fraud was scared. Everything is fine. I have no time. Go. As soon as Mitya left the office, Oksana looked at the documents. There are only grandmothers and grandfathers here. Of course, they won't suspect anything and will pay the loans for it, said the girl. She collected all the papers and went to Denis Alexandrovich. What do you have, Oksana Valerievna? Don't tell me I have to sign all this, said the boss, seeing the paper in the hands of the assistant. No, laughed the girl. These are all our former customers. Who wants to deceive our employee? He offered me a muddle-up scheme. I knew I was right about you, praised the assistant. The director, Oksana, told me how Mitya wants to deceive miserable, elderly people. Denis Alexandrovich changed his face. He called the guy to his office, read it, and fired him. You're a bastard, of course, said Mitya. Oksana, leaving the office. She could just refuse. Say thank you for just being fired. They could have written a statement about fraud. Next time you will think before you deceive people. No one else wanted to contact the new assistant of the director. She was generally left out. And you are great. Denis Alexandrovich is very pleased with your work. Thank you. I'm just doing my job honestly. Look carefully. Not everyone here is so honest, said Angelica's colleague. Oksana worked in a new position for 2 months. She was able to provide her mother with treatment. The upper part of the body began to function. Mom could sit, eat, wash, move in an invalid chair. Your mother can go, said Oksana, the doctor who treated her. But the treatment will cost a lot. The girl was delighted. How much will the therapy cost? The doctor wrote on paper a 6-digit amount. We do not offer loans and payments. After payment, we can take your mother. So far we cannot afford it. I don't have that much money, Oksana replied sadly. We will wait for you to collect the amount, but do not delay. Otherwise we will not be able to help. Doctor, he took out the paper and threw it away. Despite the sad news of further treatment, the happiness of Mom and Oksana was limitless. The family still did not refuse to help Olga Ivanovna. During the illness, the women became friends. Olga Ivanovna spent all days in the apartment of Oksana and her mother. Moreover, the girl was late for work for a long time. Oksana, you received a letter here, Olga Ivanovna said, coming to visit again. Again, by mistake, they put it in my box. A letter? They still exist? Mom laughed. You're laughing for nothing. The neighbors stopped the woman. Some bad letter from the police. Oksana grabbed the envelope from the woman's hand, opened it, and quickly ran to the contents. Everything is fine. I helped the girl find the cat. They sent that they would not initiate a criminal case. Oksana lied. They are now doing such things. Mom was surprised. Yes, there was just a cat. Some kind of breed, dear. While they were looking for us, the district police came up to us. I explained everything to him, and he decided to officially make everything. And the cat was found immediately. In the letter they are always obliged to send, the neighbor confirmed. I also came when I was chasing young Slavs. Oksana nodded. It was noticeable to her that she was very worried. The girl quickly got up and ran to work. The girl's experiences were connected with the letter she received. It said that she is a suspect in the fraud case. The bank where she was arraigned revealed the fact of stealing money. KSAN was called for questioning. Before going to the department, the girl went to Denis Alexandrovich. "Hello," said the swollen Oksana, entering the office. "Maybe you will explain to me how I became a suspect in the case of witchcraft? Why are you barging into my office without knocking?" The director asked abruptly. "You were stealing from the bank. You still allow yourself such freedoms." "What? I'm not stealing anything. You decided to set me up? I needed it for that." "Oksana, you are in charge of all the documents. It is your duty to keep track of the papers. Your signatures appear in some dubious contracts. The investigation will figure out who is here and who is used. Go away." When Oksana left the office, Angelica jumped out of the door, who obviously eavesdropped. "I warned you," said the secretary indignantly. "And what am I supposed to do now? Hire a lawyer and more expensive. Against Denis with his connections, you are powerless. Only for him did. How could he set me up?" Oksana did not care. "Dear, everyone does not care about your merits. Everyone is worried only about their asses," said the secretary. "Look for a lawyer. I repeat again. Denis will not stop. He will squeeze you." After lunch, Oksana went to the police for interrogation. There she was accused. Were placed under the registration of the accident. She was the main suspect in the kidnapping case. Denis already managed to get out of the water dry. The police arrested Oksanik, a state lawyer, and his services were free. "Tomorrow at a.m. I appointed you to meet with a lawyer. But if you want to achieve justice," the investigator advised, "I recommend finding a lawyer more." The girl wasn't like a criminal who stole millions. And she definitely didn't have enough of such schemes. The girl went to meet the lawyer. She hoped that he could help her, because the girl was innocent. A man of a bad appearance sat next to her. He was years old. His shirt was wrinkled. His suit and tie were worn out and not ironed. His shoes were stained with mud, which showed that he came on foot. "Hello, Oksana Valerievna. My name is Stepan Mihailovich. I am your defender," the lawyer said. "Hello. Can you please me with something?" asked the unhappy girl. "I studied the details of your case and I want to say that you have few chances. There are practically no chances." Oksana lowered her head. She had tears. "I did nothing," she said. "I can only advise one thing. Confess your guilt. Pressure the inheritance by the fact that you have a sick mother. They will give less. Sit back for a year. Then they will let you go for good behavior." "This is advice from a lawyer?" The girl laughed through tears. "Oksana Valerievna, no one will dig into this matter. The court has already appointed for the next Friday. The investigator wants to close the case and forget about it as soon as possible. Everything is clear here. Denis is clean. Your signatures are in the documents. There is nowhere to go. We will not prove anything. I repeat once again, I didn't steal anything. Look at me. It looks like I'm hiding a few million under the pillow. You are a defender, so find ways out. This is your job, after all." The lawyer was offended. "I can't change anything. I can only delay the term. Go away." The girl couldn't stand it. "You're useless. But you know that because of you, the girl who's innocent will end up in jail. You will ruin my fate. Even if I spend one day in prison, no one will take me to work. I will have to wash the floors for the rest of my life. And this is only because my lawyer does not want to work." The man was offended by the words of Oksana. He got up, fixed his tie, and left the cafe. Oksana stayed. An old friend sat down again. There is a boomerang of goodness, said Mitya, smiling with a smile. And where are you from here? Go away with your eyes down. What, Oksana Valerievna? Now you have been walked around the company with a kick. Did you want to work with me? They decided to charge a bigger sum. I know your business. You're an idiot. I didn't do anything. Get away from me. Oksana got up and wanted to shoot something in the dining room guy. Not a psycho. I'm leaving, but no. I'm glad you got for the merits. Mitya left and showed an offensive gesture at the girl's farewell. She didn't care about him at all. She spent another hour there, wiping her tears all this time. The girl had not told her mother about the incident yet. She wanted to wait for the court and then tell her final verdict. Oksana did not live until Friday, but she existed. She was fired from her job, but she left home every day to avoid raising suspicions from her mother. She walked through the park for days, looking at the windows, realizing that she would never be able to afford such dresses and delicious treats. Even a walk through the park is a joy that will soon become inaccessible to her. She cried all the time, thinking how she could get out of this situation, but there was no way out. One day, during the walk, she saw Angelica. The secretary came up to her. Hello. Oksana sadly greeted her. Hello. Also sadly, her former colleague answered. How are you? Are you holding on? I have a court on Friday, after which I will most likely go to the colony. What do you think? Is everything okay with me? This is unfair. You should not sit in prison while Dennis buys an apartment for stolen money. Let him live there and rejoice. I hope conscience will not give him a peaceful life. All colleagues are worried about you. They understand that you are not guilty. Wait. Angelica was stunned here. What if the court says that Dennis has no idea where the amount for the purchase of elite housing came from? This will not help. He is the director. He must have a high salary, Oksana doubted. Stupid. Not so big to afford a purchase of real estate in that area, the secretary laughed. He made a deal secretly, but I saw the documents where it was confirmed that Dennis was the owner and paid in cash. He had to postpone his salary for several years to buy such housing. If you brought these documents to my lawyer, the investigation could be prolonged. Oksana was happy, and I will be free for another month. Do not worry. We will try to achieve the truth, supported Angelica's colleague. I will get the documents, no matter what it costs me. Nadezhda Fedorovna and Zoya Pavlovna will not help. They are more worried about you. Oh my God. Oksana smiled. I was so wrong about you. I would never have thought that you would call me to help. The first impression is always deceiving. And I repeat, you don't know me at all, and being modest is not profitable in our time. You yourself were convinced of this. I feel sorry for you. You are good, even too good. Oksana had hope. She believed that Angelica would be able to get the documents and the investigation would continue. But her lawyer, she didn't contact him and didn't tell him about the new materials in the case. She called him several times a day, but Stepan didn't answer. What a hurtful people we are, thought the girl. Since Oksana didn't know how the case would end, she decided to tell the truth to her mother. The girl was worried that she would be immediately placed under the custody, but she didn't scare the sick mother much, only told her part of the truth. Mom, I need to talk to you seriously. Promise me you won't worry. Oksana, I've already started to worry. What happened? And the boss at work put me in a bad position. I've been walking around the city for 2 weeks instead of going to work. Oh my God. But they fired me and okay. Why did you scare me so much? My mother sighed. You will find a new place. That's not all, said Oksana, looking from under her forehead. I am accused of theft of money. There will be a trial on Friday, which I most likely will not be able to win. Mom grabbed her heart and screamed loudly. Daughter immediately ran up to her. I'm telling you, don't worry. In the worst case, I will be given a conditional term. Everything will be fine, the girl lied. I have a good lawyer. Everything will be fine. Exactly. You promise? Asked the woman, crying. Percent. I will not leave you. On Friday, Oksana went to court in complete despair. She never met her lawyer again, but he didn't answer her calls. The girl thought she had already said goodbye to freedom. There was no hope of salvation. Oksana was worried about her mother more than her freedom. If the girl goes to prison, it will kill the unfortunate woman. Olga Ivanovna was aware of the situation and went to the meeting to support the girl and tell her sad news in case of failure. The meeting began. It went peacefully and boring. Oksana once again listened to false accusations in her address. Angelica entered the hall in the same time. She pointed to the defendant with a gesture that everything is okay. So she handed over the documents, and the girl's head was filled with a saving thought. She was a little cheered up, and faith in success settled in her heart. That's how it was. The lawyer provided the judge with papers that confirmed the purchase of a decent-sized apartment by Denis Alexandrovich, which would have taken several decades to save the boss from his salary. The expression of the director's face at that moment clearly conveyed his inner state. He was angry and scared. It seemed he wanted to make Oksana unhappy with his eyes, who avoided meeting him with his eyes. As a result, the case was moved on. Oksana remained a suspect. She also remained under the suspicion of not leaving. Oksana looked at her ex-boss only when she announced the fate of the case. Her gaze fell on the lawyer, the man who set her up. It was a young girl. Her face was very familiar to Oksana, but she could not remember who she was. On the way home, Oksana bought a cake to celebrate her first victory with her mother. The woman sat by the window almost all the time and waited for her daughter to appear. When she saw her daughter with a sweet gift, she realized that everything was over well. Congratulations, my daughter. After all, Justice was rejuvenated. Mother was happy. Yes, I told you that everything would be fine. Oksana did not clarify what else was the main suspect in the case, decided not to disturb the nervous system of the mother anymore. During tea time, they knocked on the door. Who did it bring? Oksana was surprised. Probably Olga Ivanovna. I invited her. Do you mind? Of course not. I'll go open it. When the front door opened, Oksana saw not an elderly neighbor, that very lawyer who was protecting the traitor of the boss. Mom, it's for me. I'm going out to talk, said Oksana. They went down to the bench near the entrance without saying a word. If you come to threaten me, then nothing will come out. Oksana immediately marked her position. I didn't steal anything, and you won't be able to prove the opposite. You don't recognize me? The guest asked in a kind tone. Of course I recognize you. You are protecting a criminal, and you want to hide the innocent person in prison. I saw you in court. The girl laughed and sat on the bench. Oksana was eager to remember where she saw this person. The face was very familiar. And once we dreamed of building a rocket and flying to Mars. They promised not to forget each other. But you forgot me, Plushka, said the lawyer. At this moment, Oksana was struck by the fact that Plushka was called only one person, her best childhood friend. They were together in kindergarten and then in school. But in the 5th grade, the girls broke up because the family of their friends moved to St. Petersburg. She was sitting in front of her. Elena spoke to Oksana and hugged her childhood friend. The girl replied with strong hugs. They stood for a couple of minutes, but Oksana very sharply pushed her away. I'm glad to see you, but I wouldn't want to meet you under such circumstances, she said. Oksana, I didn't think I would see you in the court either. Before you drive me away, maybe you'll listen to why I came. Am I right? Are you on my side? The unfaithful looked at her friend Oksana. Yes, I finally got there. You've always been so stubborn. Oksana hugged Elena again, but this time stronger and more sincere. She invited her home to have tea with the cake, but asked her directly not to talk about the matter. Mom, look who came to us, said Oksana, returning home. Oh, Elyanka, you have grown up so well, said Mom. Hello, Julia Sergeyevna, and you haven't changed at all. The same young and beautiful made a compliment to the guests. I turned into a sick and helpless woman. But let's not talk about me. Tell me, how are you? How are your parents? Parents are fine. They live in St. Petersburg. And I also came here for work. And who are you working for? Mom was interested. I am a lawyer. I got an education, opened my own office. Elena answered. When did you manage to do everything? I started my internship at the university. I was sent to the most famous St. Petersburg office as the best student of the course. The story of the life of the girl was shared. There I met my husband. He is also a lawyer, but he is qualified for family affairs. The best in his business. What a good boy. Mom was happy for her old acquaintance. After tea, the girls moved into Oksana's room, and Elena finally revealed the purpose of her visit. Listen, she began to say. When I saw the materials of the case, I immediately found out your name and surname. But I doubted. I didn't believe that you were capable of this. But I agreed to personally figure it out and everything. So I was very lucky that Dennis turned to you. Oksana smiled. He turned to his husband. But he doesn't do such things, so he offered me. Although he warned that the matter was muddled. Therefore, I immediately agreed. I don't care about Dennis. We don't have a contract. He didn't know that he would become suspicious. I was needed purely for the sake of the view. Can you prove my innocence? Easily. If this banker thinks that he is a bird of high flight, we will quickly cut off his wings. My connections will be better. I have already called my husband Anton. His friends will find out everything here. How glad I am to hear this. Look, the documents with the apartment purchase are already half the deal. By the way, do you think Angelica could get them without my help? Come on. Oksana was surprised. How did you get in touch with her? She was screaming in the table of Denis Alexandrovich when I came to meet him. I should have seen how she was scared when I came in. Elena laughed. Of course, I thought that the secretary wanted to steal something and almost attacked her. But she prayed for mercy, explained that she needed to help the poor girl. In general, we agreed with her. You should have known how she met me at first. I didn't expect such a cooperation from her, Oksana laughed. But in fact, we have known each other before. She is a good girl, but with a very hard fate. What? How is it different here? And you will not share her story? Only in a friendly way. This is a secret service, Elena kept secret. When I was still studying at the institute, in the same practice that my future husband was going through, he was running a family business. He was telling me what horrors happen in life. He was approached from the crisis center. There was a girl in a very bad condition. Yes, I guess. Oksana's friend was beaten up. Was it Angelica? Yes, Elena replied sadly. Her father beat her to death. He was constantly beating her. She was sent to the grave. Angelica wanted to run away from home. She was waiting for the perfect age. But her father caught her and beat her every time. As a result, with great difficulty, Anton managed to prove his guilt. The tyrant was sent to the colony, and there he committed suicide. Poor girl, said Oksana. She was covered with tears. Now I understand why she is so cruel to others, trying to get her place under the sun. She told me once that she can't see how a guy raises his hand on a girl. And then I thought that she had some kind of misfortune in her life. But what if so? The main thing is that now she's fine. And you will be fine. You just have to be patient a little. The next day Oksana called the lawyer and arranged a meeting. Hello, Stepan Mihailovich. The girl was not friendly. Hello, Oksana Valerievna. I don't understand your tone. The man was offended. What were you counting on? When I needed your help, you ignored all my calls. And when you felt the victory, you immediately announced. I apologize. What are you not happy about? The lawyer was angry. You are now drinking cocoa in the cafe, not behind the bars. It's all thanks to me. What are you talking about? Oksana seriously got angry with the insolence of this man. You have nothing to do with this. Who is interested? What question did I call you on? The case is moving to a successful conclusion. I have percent confidence in our success. The lawyer was stunned. I am a state defender, but in the case of victory, it is customary to thank the helpers. Oksana almost choked with a drink when she heard that they were trying to withdraw money from her. Well, this is quite insolent, she said. This is a regular practice. I helped you. I need gratitude. If you want everything to end well, then more. You will not get any rewards. I refuse your services. Go away, and so that my eyes do not see you anymore. You will regret. Without a lawyer, you will not win this case. The lawyer left, offended and angry. The girl looked after him, and she was laughing. Did he really expect to receive gratitude for his help? Oksana finally felt confident. She believed that her safety was no longer threatened. The girl was impatiently waiting for a call from her friend, and he came in 2 days. Hello, Plushka. Elena said hello. Stop it. Nobody calls me that anymore. I'm not a plush anymore, Oksana laughed. Okay, I just think, what if you forgot me again? But I have 2 news, good and bad. Oh, and without bad. No way? Well, she's not really bad. First of all, your case is closed. Nobody will put you in jail. Hooray. Is this, as I understand it, good? Yes. Secondly, they don't put Dennis in jail either. They've removed this case as if it never happened. Is it possible? Oksana was surprised. In a world where there are disconnections and connections, everything is possible. And what am I supposed to do now? No one will hire me with such a reputation. Oksana was worried. They won't even take my floors. I was on the case of kidnapping. We will take care of your reputation. Don't worry about it. Elena reassured her. Now we are just doing this. In addition, we should not leave this scoundrel unpunished. Elena told that her husband is trying to go to the management of the bank where Oksana worked. They don't even know what kind of business they have in the branches. Anton intends to tell the director of the head office that they have an affair. Denis Alexandrovich, who steals money from the company. Oxen, Elena continued. You just have to wait. If everything goes well, the management will call you. Why would it call me? The girl did not understand. We will expose you to the heroes who revealed the fact of kidnapping. In principle, this is the case. If it were not for your business, no one would have known about the imagination of your director. You must be back at work. And, I don't know, to present the award, laughed the friend. Well, yes, Oksana had fun. The medal will hang on her chest. After the conversation with her friend, 2 days passed. Oksana was walking in the park as she was suddenly grabbed from behind and dragged into the alley. The girl did not see who it was. Well, hello, Oksana Valerievna, the familiar voice whispered in her ear. She turned around and saw Dennis, her former boss. He was holding her hands on her throat. What do you want from me? She asked in a frightened manner. You didn't manage to put me in jail, so you decided to kill me? Who do you need to kill yourself? Dennis said in a dismay and let go of his grip. Tell me, where did you learn about the apartment from your stupid lawyer? And where did you get the documents? It's none of your business, she replied. It's not my business. It's my personal, but you shouldn't have gone there. How did you find out? I'm asking you. I won't tell you, insisted on his girlfriend. Is this Angelica? Is she a fool? Did she say that? No, there is no one else but her. So she is. Dennis hit the wall and nervously went from side to side. She hates you, continued the interrogation of the director. Why should she help you? This is an outdated version of our relationship, Oksana answered. It doesn't matter. Who told me about your purchases? Why did you set me up? Girl, do you think every cleaner is offered a second-person position in a large bank? Well, such a stupid, full of stuff. You are the perfect option for a substitute. I didn't even look at what you were signing. How did you get offended, Oksana? If it wasn't for me, you would have been put up with it and removed even earlier than me. And you decided to thank me for your help? This is a girl's business. There is no place for sentiment and support, as you still do not understand." In these words, Dennis left the girl. She immediately called Elena. Can you imagine? He almost strangled me. Oksana shared her feelings. I will tell Anton that we need to speed up. We will deal with this, Dennis. Do not worry. Elena's friends supported. It took a long time to wait and worry about the girl. 3 days later, she was called to the office for a conversation. When Oksana went upstairs, she was met by Nadezhda Fedorovna and Zoya Pavlovna. "Hello, my dear colleagues. I missed you so much." The girl spoke and hugged the woman. "And we missed each other so much." Nadezhda was delighted. "How we worried about you. I prayed that this bastard would not be able to put you in jail," said Zoya. "What do you have here new and interesting? And the most interesting thing is that you are in the know." "You are connected," laughed Nadia. "And the new one is ahead. The boss arrived." She killed her friend Zoya. "The most important one. From the central office. Nobody ever saw him. What did he come for?" She was right. She was holding her hope. "We're used to our own people, and you won't understand what to expect. By the way, what did you come for? Did you call? Maybe to testify against Dennis. He stole, didn't he? Oh, right. You don't know. He was fired." She asked Zoya. "Here comes the chief. Maybe you will be returned?" "I would like to believe that," Oksana replied. "At least they would return it in a car." Oksana hugged her old colleagues again and went to the director's office. There she was waiting for a middle-aged man, well-dressed. It was immediately seen that the person was well off and serious. The girl was a little scared of his officiality, but did not lose face. "Hello." She greeted me. "Hello. Oksana Valerievna. My name is Gennady Konstantinovich. I am the owner of this establishment, let's say. I have never been to my branches, but your case forced me to come urgently." The girl felt a little guilty. The tone of this man was powerful, and he seemed to really want to blame her for having to get distracted from his business. She shyly lowered her eyes, then sharply raised them and looked at Gennady with all the innocence she was capable of. "I don't understand your fright," laughed the man. "I have suffered losses from this branch for so many years. I could not understand what was the matter. I wanted to close this department until you appeared here." "I?" The girl was even more scared. "Yes, you. Oksana Valerievna, you opened my eyes. Dennis, who was in charge here, has been stealing me for several years. For what he will bear the corresponding punishment. She will not have time to live in a new apartment." "You're crazy." Oksana did not finish him. She was scared of the thought that came to her head. "Do not go crazy," laughed Gennady Konstantinovich. "Now is not the 90s. Sit a little behind the bars, think about your behavior, and I want to put you in his place. I need such an employee. I see that you are not capable of theft and deception. In addition, I was highly recommended to you. Well, will you take it?" "Of course I agree." Oksana sighed with relief. She had not yet realized that she was offered the position of director. "In addition to the recovery in position and promotion, I am giving you a bonus, personally from me." Gennady gave the girl an envelope of impressive thickness. "I heard that you have a sick mother. She will need treatment. I can recommend a good clinic. It will certainly not be cheap, but now you can afford it. I don't even know how to thank you." Finally, Oksana began to realize what was going on. "Take this department to the—" Gennady Konstantinovich shook Oksana's hand, wished her good luck, and left. The girl ran through the office, sat in a chair, turned around in it. She looked around the office and did not believe that she was the boss here. She went to the reception to share her joy with Angelica, but did not find her there. Then she went to other employees to find out why the secretary was not at work. "Oksana Valerievna," said the girl in the credit department. "Denis Alexandrovich fired her when he found out that she was helping you. He kicked her out with such a scandal, and wrote such a feature that if she only had to go to the janitor's office. I need to find her, Oksana said unexpectedly abruptly. Look in the staff department of her personal affairs. There should be the address and phone number. Oksana found out the address where Angelica lived, bought a bottle of champagne, and went to her. She was lucky. The girl was at home. She met a guest in a dress and a glass of wine. Hello, what are you drinking at 1 o'clock in the afternoon? Oksana smiled and asked. I can afford it, she waved and answered. I'm unemployed. I have nowhere to hurry. And my work is not good enough. Dennis wrote me such a recommendation. Well, you come in, since you came. I'm not just like that. I will talk and celebrate, said Oksana, and got a bottle of champagne. Wow, and what else are you saying to me? What are we going to celebrate? Our victory, Oksana solemnly declared. And our new positions. You found a job? Congratulations. What if you're not at work then? I can afford it, Oksana answered, teasing the former secretary. I am now the boss. Come on, great. And what is the boss? Angelica, come to yourself a little and think. Oksana gave the girl time to guess on her own, but she looked at her questionably. I tell you, Oksana couldn't stand it. Dennis was caught on theft. Thanks to my case, the head office found out about his fraud. He was fired, and it seems they will put him in jail for a long time, and I was put in his place. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. Congratulations. The villain is punished. Angelica was happy to meet her. Don't you need a secretary? I have experience. I won't let you read the recommendations. No, Oksana laughed. I don't need a secretary. I need an assistant. A right-handed one, so to speak. I think you are better off without a candidature. Angelica straightened out. It was clear that she was very happy, but she was trying to hide her happiness. This girl has always tried to keep her face. Of course not. I did all the work for Denis Alexandrovich. He only put the signatures, said the girl herself. But her gaze sharply improved. Thank you very much, Oksana. You just pulled me out of the pit. Did I really see your smile? Oksana hugged her new assistant. Thank you for everything. If it weren't for you with these documents for the apartment, I would never get out of this story. This is for you. Thank you. I would work all my life on the runways. By the way, Oksana thought, how much do you already drink? Yes, that's how they fired. So I walked for 2 weeks. So that tomorrow would be like a glass of lye. There is a boss. The girls laughed, hugged again, and drank a glass. Oksana hurried home to please her mother, while Tanya showed her the envelope that Gennady Konstantinovich gave her. This is for your treatment, Mom. Tomorrow you will go to the clinic where you will be put on your feet. Daughter, said Mom, wiping away her tears. For me, the main thing is that you are fine. Yulia Sergeyevna went through therapy in the best hospital in the city. In 6 months, she was able to walk. Oksana was doing very well. They had a great tandem with Angelica. The girls brought the bank to a new level, attracted new smart specialists. The new manager also did not forget about her former cleaning colleagues. She raised their salary and created comfortable working conditions. Oksana was in touch with Elena now. The friend became a personal lawyer and consultant to the girl. A year later, Elena was happy to hear that she was pregnant. She asked Oksana to become the godmother of her future child. Finally, Oksana's life was over. She was truly happy.